After more than 3 decades, one of the oldest and most prestigious choirs in the world returns to the United States. The Sistine Chapel Choir is on a tour and made a stop right here in our nation's capital. Look who was lucky enough to be there. Correspondent Wyatt Goolsbee joins us from the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception, where they performed last night. Good evening, Wyatt.
Good evening, Lauren. For many Catholics here in the U.S., this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. The Sistine Chapel Choir usually performs in the Vatican at papal masses, but this week Americans are getting a chance to see them in person.
The sounds of classical Renaissance music filled the sanctuary inside the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception. This group of 30 boys and 22 men is known as the Pope's Choir because they sing for the Holy Father's liturgies. Mark Spiropoulos is the first Englishman since the Reformation to be hired as a full-time singer.
Music is a way in which we can connect to people that don't necessarily understand the words. And we have to direct their minds to consider something which goes beyond the everyday, the banal, to the transcendent.
Bob Schwartz of Michigan says that's the reason his company is sponsoring the choir's U.S. tour.
People are searching for truth and beauty and goodness, and sacred music of this caliber really allows people to reach that, to achieve that.
Timothy McDonald, the director of choral activities at the Catholic University of America, hopes the choir's historic trip will inspire American Catholics.
This is a real encounter with history and the history of the Catholic Church, and in particular the history of the papacy.
Grayson Wagstaff, the Dean of Music at Catholic, is conveying that history to students.
We want students to add to this tradition by composing their own new music to celebrate the faith or to do research on the importance of the Church's traditions.
And it's that celebration of the faith that continues to draw audiences wherever the choir travels. Spiropoulos says it's an honor to be a part of the group.
There's no other choir that I've come across that sings quite like this, that has such an intense feeling, a real living and breathing of this kind of music. They have such a feeling for what they're doing and a real passion for it, and that excites me a lot.
The trip has been described as a pilgrimage, not only for the Catholics coming to listen to the music, but for the choir as well. This was the second of 3 stops for the Pope's Choir. This weekend, they'll perform at the Detroit Opera House. If you want all the information, just log on to SistineChapelUSTour.com. Lauren?
Thank you so much, Wyatt Goolsbee. Correspondent Wyatt Goolsbee reporting from inside the National Basilica. EWTN will air the Washington, D.C. Sistine Chapel Choir concert on October 22nd. It will feature the full performance, as well as interviews with Dr. Jacqueline Leary Warsaw, host of EWTN's In Concert series.